The one operation that I did with an agency psychologist was the most fun I have ever had in a single operation. We had a walk-in. A walk-in is somebody who literally walks in to an American embassy off the street and says, I have intelligence I want to pass to the CIA. 95% of them are lunatics. The other 5% are intelligence peddlers who just want you to give them a couple of $100, and then they go to the British embassy and the Russian embassy and the French embassy and the Israeli embassy, and they just do the same thing, and then that's a month's salary. Some are probes from terrorist groups or enemy countries. They're just looking to see where the cameras are, how thick the doors are, who's armed or not armed, how far into the embassy they can get before they're stopped. But most of them are just lunatics. And then there's 1% that's the real deal. If you look historically by reading Cold War era memoirs, the best recruits the CIA has ever had were walk-ins. Because you don't know who this Russian KGB colonel is. You're never going to encounter him. But then one day he just walks into an embassy somewhere and says, I'm a KGB colonel and I want to give you everything I have. And I want $1 million. And you say, I'll get the giant sack of money. You start writing, you know? Yeah. I'm being facetious, of course, but not too much. So we had a walk-in who said that he had seen an assassination. He said that he's driving down this highway and he has to take a leak. And so he pulls off an exit and there's this old abandoned church there, and he parks his car behind this big banyan tree and he's taking a leak. And while he's taking a leak, a van pulls up. A bunch of guys get out of the back of the van. The source sees 2 motorcycles in the back of the van and hears one of the guys say, does he still live? And the other one says, he should be dead by now. So he says, I think this was this terrorist group that you guys are after. And we said, will you sit with a sketch artist? He said, yes. And he did the sketches, and they were really, really close to photographs we had of people that we suspected were in this terrorist group. So we turned him over to the FBI, and the FBI interviewed him. And they said, he's full of shit. He's nuts. We're done. Well, we just took him back and we said, how about if we fly to London? We have a nice dinner. Everybody's relaxed. We're all friends. And we talk about this in more detail. He said, great. So we fly him to London. He was so poor, the poor guy. I remember this. He flew to London. It was freezing and he didn't own a coat. So I went out and bought him a coat just so he wouldn't, be frozen solid by the end of the 3 or 4 days. So I flew out to London with 2 psychologists, but one of the psychologists was a licensed hypnotist. And I flew out there with another case officer. So we both spoke the language. And so we're going to act as translators for the hypnotist. It's hard work being a translator, let me tell you. And you have to be like, speaking like this. We're going to count back 10, 9, 8. It's very hard. So the night before, we go out to some bookstore, we go to a nice restaurant without the guy. The guy hasn't arrived yet. So just the agency people. We went out. This is going to be our plan. We're going to, have all the lights off. We're going to be in the darkened hotel room, speak very softly. We're going to put him under. And I said, come on. I said, hypnosis isn't really a thing, right? It always just seemed like bullshit to me. And he said, no. He said, we're going to really put him under. And he said, the funny thing is that smart people go under much more quickly than stupid people do, which I still don't fully understand. But he said, we're going to ask him all these questions. I said, well, how long does this last?